Hi, this is James from Tabletop Gaming Guild, and today we're going to take a look at Wonderland Wars. Wonderland Wars is a 2 to 5 player game published by Druid City Games. In Wonderland Wars, you're going to be playing as one of the iconic characters, like the Mad Hatter, the Queen, or Alice, or the Jabberwocky. And you're going to try to gain the most points throughout the 3 different rounds and control Wonderland. Let's go ahead down to the table here, and I'll give you a general idea how the game plays, and then we'll come back and I'll give you my final thoughts. Alright, so this is Wonderland's War. This is going to be a bag building game where you're going to play over 3 rounds. After the 3rd round, whoever has the highest amount of points will win this game. Each round you're going to have place these cards out based on player count, and they're going to be marked like this is the first age, this is going to be the second age, and this is going to be the third age, and after that the game will end. To start out the game, each player is going to get their faction specific tokens, going to get a double madness, and 2 single madness chips, and place them in their bag and give it a good shuffle. So this will be their starting bag for the game. Now, they will also have this player boards, and each player board has really cool asymmetric powers throughout the game. Alice here is weird. She will go in reverse Tea Party order, so she'll go the opposite direction of everyone else. I'll show you what that means in a second. And then she has all these really cool abilities that she can unlock throughout the game. And each of these players has really cool, unique abilities that they can fire off throughout the game, whether they have them leveled up or their main ability, and they're all fairly unique. So here's the main ability, here's some stuff you can unlock, and main ability stuff you can unlock. In addition to that, they're also going to be able to unlock more stuff throughout the game. You'll be able to discard some shards, you'll gain some more strength throughout the game, you will be able to get more units, and you'll increase your scoring for your castles that you have out at the end of the game. Mainly, extra points at the end of the game are going to come from the quests that you've completed, which each player is going to start with one. Here in the quest, if you look at it, this is something that you complete during the game. So this here is going to give you points for that, 3 points. This one here is going to be something that you're going to try to complete for the end of the game. That'll give you 3 points. If you complete both of these, you'll get additional 3 points. So each of these cards can be worth up to 9 points throughout the game. And you gain quest cards during the Tea Party phase, potentially, throughout the game. So you can get more and more of these. In addition to that, for scoring, like I said, you can move up by forging from left to right, farther and farther. So this is each worth going to be 4 points. This is 5 points. This is going to be 6 points each. You can also get points from uncovering to a certain point. Like if I get to the end of this track here, I will get 4 points. Well, I'll show you forging when we get to it, but just know that that's there, and that's very helpful throughout the game. So what you're going to do? Well, first, every age starts with the Tea Party phase. And I'm just going to go over the rules really briefly. There's a little bit more to the game, but just know that this is just a brief overview of the game itself. Let me move this over a little bit so you can see all the different cards available here, and I'll show you what that means in a second. All right, now that you can see all these cards available here, you'll notice that these have letters on them. At the beginning of the game, you're going to pick whether you're going to do A, B, C, D, and those all have slightly different abilities for their chips. Now, if you've ever played Quacks of Quedlinburg or another bag building game, you might be a little familiar with how this mechanism works. But basically there's going to be a 1 pip and a 2 pip for each of these except for the forge. And the 1 pip are going to be worth so much strength, and the 2 pip are going to be worth so much strength, and they all have different abilities when they get pulled from the bag. The thing is you don't need to remember it because they have this really handy player guide that you're going to hand out to everyone that's going to show you what each of those chips can do throughout the game. So if your opponents draw them, you'll know what's happening. Just want to show that off for a second because we're going to go into what you can do on your turn. So this is the tea party phase. Oh, one other thing to mention is based on player count, you're going to gain shards. Now, shards are bad. You don't want shards to the game. So based on your turn order is going to be how many shards you're going to start with. And I'll show you how to get more shards here in a second. What you're going to do is you're going to take your player piece and you're going to pick where you want to be along this tea party. You can go all the way around if you want, all the way to the beginning. But if you do go to this spot, you have to stop. If you go to this spot and stop, you have to roll this shard die, and whatever one it lands on is how many shards you get. So here's 2 shards, here's 1 shard, and I think, yeah, there's a 3 shards part here. So not fun necessarily, but what are you going to do? Well, you're going to pick what you want to do. So here, if I went to this spot here, I would pick up this card. And this one here says I get 2/1 pink, 2/1 level flamingos. So I would take those chips and I would throw them in my bag. And I would place this card near me. This card also makes me roll the shard die, so I will also gain shards. Other spots here, so these ones are pretty much self-explanatory, but if whatever their face color is what chips you're going to get, and if you notice really small right here is how many pips they are going to be worth. Age 1 is generally all going to be 1 pip, but you have age 2 and 3, some of them you can get the 2 pip ones. Some cool other ones that I want to show off here is this one here will let me get a forge. The forge token is one of the easiest ways to be able to forge chips onto this track to unlock cool abilities. And this one here says I can get any 1 chip that I want from the row here. Additional icons that are important here, I can pick up a Wonderlarian or I can upgrade. So what does that mean? Wonderlarians are here, so I could just take the card and the standee, and when I pick up the standee, I'll place it in one of the locations here, and they will gain power equal to what it says here, and they have special abilities, so I can gain Wonderlarian. The other thing I can do is upgrade my abilities, which is to be simply remove this disc here from here, and then I would now have this ability for the rest of the game, so that's really cool too. In addition to this, on these cards here, they have a little number with a little picture of a meeple. That's how many meeples I can deploy to each location. So if I have the 2 here, and I could take 2 of my meeples and I can place them in 1 location. I can also deploy, if I picked up the Wonderlarian, in the same location, but they all have to be in the same location anytime I do a deploy. So next time I deploy, I can pick a different location, but all the ones I deploy have to be in that location. So there's other cards in here, like this one here. Lets me get rid of a shard. This one here lets me pick up a quest and build a strength or upgrade an ability. All really cool things. I'm not going to go over all of them, but that just gives you general ideas of things you can pick. So you're trying to build your presence in each of these locations because they are going to fire off. At the beginning of the game, this sword will go in one of the locations, and at the end of a round of age, I guess I'm calling them, this will move along. Player will roll the shard die, and that's how many places it'll go. Battles will start from here and go clockwise. You're going to continue picking up these cards until you have 4. Once you've done that, then you're going to take your leader and you're going to place it in one location that you choose. Your leader will help in battles and fights. And each of these locations these are randomly assigned at the beginning of the game, different point values they're worth during each age. So the first round is worth 2, second round is worth 6, third round is worth 12. A couple other things to point out is as you're picking up these cards, when someone lands on this part of the board and stops, you will refill any place that a figure is not, that is empty. So you will refill up to give yourself more choices. So if you don't like what's out there or people have taken what you wanted, you may want to refresh it. Keep in mind that you're going to get shards. At the end of the tea party phase, everyone's going to get another madness chip to put into their bag. And I'll show you what that means that's bad in a second. But the player who had the most shards will return half of the shards and get 2 madness chips and put them in their bag also. So keep it in mind that each round you're going to be gaining at least 1 madness chip. Also keep in mind that sometimes having the most madness or shards isn't bad, because shards are all worth -1 point at the end of the game. So you'll have to subtract that from your score at the end of the game. So once everyone's gotten their cards and everyone's placed their leaders out, then the battle phase will begin. And starting with the where the sword is and going clockwise, every player is going to battle in each of these regions that they have units. Now, if you don't have units in a region, you can bet. But let's show you some stuff what that means here in a second. So let's say we have a battle over here. And sorry, I keep grabbing from there. And we'll say that's already out. Okay, so what'll happen is we're going to add up, and we'll say these 2 units are over here. So what's going to happen is Alice is going to take a look at her strength. Right now she's at a 1, so she adds 1 strength to it. The Mad Hatter, let's say he has 2, and he has 1 unit out here, so that's going to be 3. So he's at 2 strength, and that unit there gives him 3. Alice at 1 strength is going to add the castle, which is going to, all castles are always 2, and her 2 units. So that will give her, starting out, that'll give her 4 strength. Now what that means is you're going to set those values up at the battle track up here. So I think I said that he had 3 and she had 4. And what you're going to do is you're going to pull chips from this bag one at a time until you decide you don't want to anymore. So what I'm going to do now is everyone's going to pull 1 chip out. They're going to reveal it. Now if you reveal nothing, then you're done. You're going to stay where you're at on that track. I revealed this one here, and this is a madness chip. So I'll place this chip right here, and I have to lose a unit. There's a double madness, remember, in there, and then I'll have to lose 2 units. You have to lose units that are not your leaders and not Wonderlands first. So these guys have to go. Once I do that, I can continue on drawing until we figure out who has the most strength at the end. Now, if I lose a unit in here, I don't lose strength. But if I have lost all my units here, except for the castle, can never lose the castle, I have busted, and I have to reset my battle track down to 0. And whoever is highest on the track will win. They'll get the points that are on here, and then second place will get half of that value. So in this case, if Alice won, she'd get 2. If the Mad Hatter was in second, you get 1. Also, when you place out your chips, so if I pulled, let's say this one, and I gained 2 strength, I would move that up 2. I place them on here. If I end on a forge space on this track right here, then I can forge. Or if I've played a forge chip, I can forge. And that is any active token that I have on here, I can place here, basically putting it out of the game, and get the benefit described. So on this track here, I can lose a shard. On this track here, I gain a strength. On here, I will gain a quest and a meeple. On here, I will increase the value of my castles. Here, I'll be able to upgrade. Once I get to the end of the track, I also unlock a chip and I put it in my bag. Also, if I go and I have upgraded this to here and up here, then I also get this middle value right here, which is this one's going to be able to upgrade. So that's basically what forging will do real quick. What other things will happen in the game? Well, the other players that weren't in the battle could have wagered. And what they're going to do is when they wager, they're going to take a look at their cards here. And before the battle begins, they're going to select who they think is going to win. So if I say, oh, I think he's going to win. Now, I'm in this battle, so I wouldn't be able to do that, but the other players could. And then you're going to take a look at your battle wager, and you're going to either gain, one of 2 things is going to happen to you. If you're wrong, you're going to gain a shard. So that's horrible. If you're right, you're going to gain any weak ally, which is going to be the 1 pip ally down here, which is really nice. So wagering can be a big advantage in the game, but in general, it could also end up being a a little bit of a trouble for you by gaining those shards. So we'll keep on going until all the regions have had a battle, and at that point the round will end. We'll reset, clear out all of these cards and put the next age in. All the players will go to the start of the tea party, so at the top of the table, and they'll go ahead and get their cards and start a new round. This will go 3 times, and the person with the most points at the end of the 3rd round will win. So in a real quick nutshell, that is how you play Wonderland Wars. Let's go ahead back up to the table here, and I'll give you my final thoughts on the game. So Wonderland Wars, I do like the game. The component quality, this is not the going to be the Kickstarter version. This is going to have the cardboard standees and everything is good. The cardboard's nice and thick. They're printed really nicely. The cards are really good quality. The board's really good quality. The player boards, though, I wish were like dual layered or a little thicker. They're pretty thin. They're pretty thin cardboard boards. Even if they were like thick cardboard boards, just like the main board or whatever, that would have been great. But those are pretty thin. But other than and the little chits on there, I really, once I sell those the replacement ones, the upgraded deluxe ones, they're like poker chips. Those chips are not so great, but they are thicker cardboard. I probably, if I end up playing this game a lot, I'm probably going to get those. I'm either going to get the deluxe chips to replace them, or I'm going to get those little coin holders that you can pop over top of them, like you could do for Quacks of Quedlinburg. This game is a bag building game, so if you like that, if you play Quacks of Quedlinburg and you're okay with that, that's great. There's a lot of luck in what you pull out of there, and sometimes the stuff you purchase you just don't end up seeing. So the battles can be a little luck driven throughout the game, but a battle is a battle. You can offset that luck by having more units in that location and getting some Wonderlandians to do some cool stuff in those areas. The game itself is fairly short. It's fairly straightforward. Some of the rules were maybe not as clear as they should be in the rule book, but they were still, we could find them and we could figure it out. Overall, good game. I'm not sure how much I'm going to be playing the game. It's okay. The replayabilities could be there. If you really like the bag building aspect and you really like the game, you could play this and it'd be different every time. Maybe with the expansions, it's going to get a little bit more replayability in it for myself. But I'm not sure how often this game's going to hit the table for me. However, I could definitely see someone loving this game. If you love the Wonderland theme, if you love bag building, and you like the little cool tea party thing that it gets going, where you go out and get your draft your cards, and then you do your war in each of those areas, and you pull out your bag and you try to not bust and go as far as you can. There's a lot of stand-up moments in the game, so this game could definitely be worth it for you. So that is my thoughts on Wonderland Wars. Thank you for watching.